One thing, folks, I've noticed over the last few years, and perhaps I'm getting this wrong, and perhaps I'm looking at this from a southern England perspective, but I've seen a lot more cross St George flags flying in people's gardens or in people's, car stickers than I ever used to see. But perhaps I'm getting this all wrong, because I'm joined now down the line by Stephen Warden, chairman of the Leicestershire branch of the Royal Society of St George, who are on the verge, as I understand it, Stephen, of closing down. So your society, I'm guessing you have an annual lunch or dinner, and you're struggling to keep going.
Well, we've gone past that, Nigel. In actual fact, the membership closed the branch in March. We've been struggling for quite a long time with membership, despite efforts to try and increase the membership. But no, in March, the branch came to a full stop, sadly, on my watch. So I feel some shame for that as the president, former president now. So yes, unfortunately, the Royal Society of St George, whilst it has members in Leicestershire and Leicester, doesn't have a branch now.
And do you feel, Stephen, this is because a diminution of a sense of Englishness and wanting to celebrate it?
Certainly at this end of the England, I hear what you said earlier about the prevalence of the St George flag, however it's presented. But certainly at this end of England, there is certainly a diminution. And in fact, looking at the 2021 census in Leicester, there's been a 52% rise in the Asian population in Leicester in the last 10 years. Now, that's got to contribute. Now, this is legal immigration, so I'm not suggesting it's legal immigration. So they're doing what a lot of expats are doing from this country. But unfortunately, it's diluting Englishness in this city. In fact, from the same census, only 8.2% of people in Leicester now class themselves as English. So for an English society, it's
Say that again. 8.2% of people in the city of Leicester describe themselves as English.
Correct. From the 2021 census. So
wow.
That in itself is a problem for recruitment. But there's also a clear lack of the younger element in the Royal Society's branch before it closed. We tried to get the younger element. I personally tried. I went to a couple of education establishments and asked if I could put flyers down in the foyers for the students to pick up at the leisure. I was rejected on both occasions. One establishment said they didn't want to offend international students. The other didn't want to offend international students.
Well, but surely, if they're international students, they've come to study in England, they must have some respect for England.
You think like that, Nigel. I think like that, Nigel. But for some reason, this woke left movement in the education system won't allow their teachers to think like that and educators. The other one just said they felt it would be inappropriate and never really expanded on it beyond that. But that's the sort of problem that we're having, keeping the English societies going. And I have to say, there's also an element of indolence on behalf of the English. I mean, 8.2% of the total in Leicester would give you 30,000 people. If I could just have 100 of those 30,000 people, the branch could be open again tomorrow.
Well, thank you for coming on, Stephen, and sharing your somewhat depressing story about the Royal Society of St George in Leicester. But I think you've explained really rather well why it's happened. Thank you.
Yes.